let him come in and get seated and we'll get started. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order at 10:02. And welcome to the 39th Annual Homeowners Meeting. Sorry, I'm not real good with these microphones, so if you hear a lot of vibration, sorry. My name is Todd Timmons. I serve as president of the Homeowners Association. This is a 2026 annual meeting. Anyone who's not signed in, I'd ask you please sign in. And we want to have a productive meeting and remain on schedule, so please hold all your comments until the end. We will have a question and answer session. And when you do stand up, please identify yourself by your name and your unit number. That helps us understand who's who. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the board. Greg Fish serves as the vice president. Wayne McElharney is director at large. Mark Carson is secretary. And Kevin Mansfield is treasurer. And then we have real managed. We have Amy Baker and Marie. Where's Marie?
She's checking somebody out.
Marie Tarola. And then we also, well, Al was here. I was wanting to give Al a shout out. We have Al, man. We also have Jill Morris and RC. They do a lot of construction around here, so. Amy, do you want to do your next part? Your proof of your mailing?
At the end, if you have any questions or comments, we have a microphone up here. We'd like for y'all to pass it around so that everybody can hear you. Plus, we're recording this meeting and we want your voice to be able to be heard on the recording.
And we're not doing Zoom this year. We're just recording the meeting and we'll send it back out. Zoom's a little bit kind of complicated for some people, and then some people leave their cameras on, and that's not a good thing either. That happened last year, so let's just leave it at that. Okay, Amy, go ahead.
All right, so Mr. President, members of the Board of Directors, and all the owners present, I give you the report of the quorum. Legal notice of this meeting was mailed to all owners of record. The Richmond Park Property Owners Association is represented by 0.13% of the membership for a quorum. We need more than 50%, so y'all have that quorum.
Okay, you got your minutes.
Oh, yes, the other two.
Yeah.
All right, so in your meeting packet is the minutes from last year. We're gonna take a vote from the floor to approve the minutes. If y'all wanna take a moment and read through those, if you have any questions or any, thing you'd like to change or add or what have you, or we'll just take a motion.
I move for approval.
Name and
T.C.
number.
Smith, AF Richmond Park.
Thank you.
Minutes,
Second.
Second, Deborah Helton, 8212.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. The next thing on the agenda is the election. So this year you had 2 seats and 2 candidates. So we have the ballots that everyone sent in. You guys do secret ballot. And we don't have the need to really count them because they're by acclamation. You only had 2 people running. Those 2 people you voted for. So those are going to be by acclamation. So the election will be Todd and Greg ran for a position on the board, and they'll be nominated to the board based on the votes that were sent in. You good?
Yep. Does anybody, we're not gonna count the ballots unless somebody requests us to. So, okay.
So you don't need a motion on accusation?
No.
Well, then you can do your tax resolution.
You just run the show. All right, so we have 2 things. In your package, you have the manager's report. I hope it's in there. I can't remember. Anyway, the manager's report is just things that we need to share with the homeowners. The biggest piece for us is that you guys have access to your owner's portal. And on your portal, you can find your account balances, you can find these meeting minutes, you can find documents for the association. There's just a lot of helpful information there. So if you do not have access to the owner's portal, you can get with Maria after, and we can definitely get you access, because every homeowner has access to that portal. And it's all about the things for your community at your fingertips, so you don't have to call me or email me and wait on me to get back with you. A lot of these things you just can automatically go to on the portal. The tax resolution, I'm gonna read so you guys can take a vote on that. Your tax resolution is to take any monies that you had over budget last year and do a, vote on to roll that over into your reserve so you don't have to pay taxes on that money as an HOA. So for the tax resolution, whereas Richmond Park Property Owners Association is a corporation organized under the laws of South Carolina, the members of the association resolve that any excess in membership income over the membership expenses of the year ending in December 31, 2026 be applied to the membership assessment for the subsequent tax year as provided by the IRS ruling 70-604. So I just need a motion from the floor to approve the tax resolution.
Got a motion?
Hi, Lizette Cabrera, L119.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. A second.
Lori DeAmbrose, 20I.
Thank you, Ms. Ambrose. And all in favor? Aye. 20 aye. And Todd's gonna go through the financials and stuff and share with you what was over. I would like to say one last thing, Todd. We immensely appreciate you guys sitting in your proxies, because without a quorum, it's hard to have a meeting, not knowing coming into the meeting, we have a quorum. So we greatly appreciate you guys sending those in, so we know we have a quorum to conduct the business of your association. So we're not having to recall and charge more money, obviously, to the members to redo a meeting. So thank y'all so much for that. All right, I'm done.
Okay.
That's all you.
Next up is Wayne McElharney. He's going to give us a report on the litigation, the ongoing litigation. You want to stand up, get the microphone?
Welcome everybody here. The litigation involving Richmond Park on the vendors and lawful law management because of moved to Portland, South Carolina. Consistently in the state of the complaints, the lawful law management offering a primary subject of these allegations. Recently, we have taken depositions of Dave Driscoll, Mark Sims, and started the not finished on that yet, and depositions of the HOA. Therefore, let's like a case of the suit was private, those of which you see cannot they think that he was taking depositions by end of month to lawful law management, Matt Snyder. After these depositions was completed, scheduling, and work declaration, and getting the spirit of the community. So after that, I go to set up a trial date by the end of the year. And I can negotiate before that. So they may have any questions on that, or we're not talking about $2,000, we're talking several zeros on how you get started.
How much?
We're talking at least or millions of dollars. We won't know at the end of the year, we'll tell what the low number will be, we'll tell what's the highest number will be by the end of the year before you go to trial.
It's been kind of hard to follow this. Can you give us, has there been any real progress made this year over what we heard last year?
Well, right now, this year, we've got the deposition, we already did, there's with Mark Sims. Mark Sims would have been all the main contractor, and he did all the work, which nobody ever seen him in here. So we gained a lot this year, so by hoping he's gonna get a trial date this year, that's a good thing. So it's beating us now. And Walmart, they would have several cases against them right now. But one of the biggest in the county.
Excuse me, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being what we should worry about and not sleep at night, where are we on that scale?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, if it's a 1, we're not too worried, If it's a 10, we're really worried and we can't sleep at night. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we?
The lawsuit is for us. There's no liable for them.
Right.
It's a benefit to us. You can look from one bid, we'll say $1 million bidding up to, we don't know, $20 million.
Yeah.
We don't know. It just depends on, we do have stuff for fraud that did interest with that, is that, I know that, so.
So, what, obviously, this is
Do you need a unit number?
Max Fiore, Unit 1B. Obviously, this is,
Way back.
obviously, this has been going on for quite a while, right?
Correct.
What I'd like to know is, no, I'm not talking about the trial, I'm talking about the actual fraud that was committed. What's going on. What is the board gonna do going forward with the new contractor to monitor them more closely so that this doesn't happen?
Can we address that at the end during the question and answer time? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that will be addressed. Actually, Todd may address it when he talks.
Anybody got else?
Wayne,
Yeah.
L119, the second row. You mentioned Matt and Mark Sims, what about Ethan from Walk?
That's,
Is that
that's
part of the
all
walk?
back in the walk,
Okay.
for sure, that's what's from ball two right now.
Oh, yeah, and Crystal,
They Crystal's already been,
okay,
so far, but we'll be going back, and that's one of our key people, so.
okay.
Got another one in mind?
Wesley Model 218. Any offers at this point from Walker in terms of a settlement?
No. Not yet. I don't think they'll go to trial, so we'll see.
Walkama's not giving their deposition, correct?
No, that will happen this month.
So you have 5 people, is that correct? That's got to give a deposition?
Yeah. And sometimes they'll probably call me to get
Yeah, and we're down, we've gotten 2.
two partly done, so we'll go back to them again, but Walk and Matt Snyder's the key one this month.
And then we've also had, I think Carol has done a deposition.
Carol had done her last month.
And she wasn't complete. She still got it. And I think he said, yeah.
And see how Walk and Matt Snyder goes, or how theirs go, then they'll come back to me and see what information I need to gather.
More than likely, this will go through, they'll go through all the depositions. And once they go through the depositions, I mean, South Carolina law requires a mediation. And that's probably where this will be all settled, is in mediation. They'll pull all of their insurance people together and all of these people together and their lawyers, and they'll come up with a number and they'll start the negotiating point. You know, they'll probably start it down here and we'll try to work it up to here. That's basically, you know, they're trying to avoid a trial. Let's say that a lawyer don't want to go to a trial in something like this. It's too costly.
They get a hold of it.
Yes, sir.
They ever get a hold of it?
Remind them the link is.
Yeah, that's right. In Florida? I don't know where they found it.
Also, is there any other questions? Okay, there's no more questions. Also, on your agenda, you have, it talks about access to the lawsuit. So you can go in there, and it probably, when you received it in email, everything under this email, under this address, the www, is hyperlinked. So all you have to do is click it, and it should take you straight to the lawsuit information without you having to try to go through the court stuff and figure that out. The next thing up is officer's report, and we're going to mix this up a little bit. So we're going to do the secretary's report first, then the treasurer, and then I'll do my report, because pretty much the rest of it is just me talking, unfortunately. So Mark's going to give you an update on the loan and also just kind of the state of the insurance industry right now.
So we got this,
The microphone?
update from our insurance provider. Property market has continued to improve over the past 18 months, which is evidenced in the November renewals. Big saving, better coverage, and only one carrier. And that was a big deal because we had multiple carriers to cover all the buildings in the past. On the flip side, the liability market for habitational risks is very challenging, as many carriers have exited the space. This is due to the legal framework in South Carolina, large settlements, and a resistance to properties with short-term rentals. So that's the update that we got from our insurance provider. Todd's gonna talk about the loan going forward. I'm just gonna kind of remind everybody of what we've done over the last year. September, we did a presentation to those that were interested, video presentation about why we needed the loan. Following that, we hired a third-party provider, inspectors of elections, to run the vote and make sure everything was done the way it should be done. The end result of that, and in order to, what we had to do is add amendments to our Richmond Park documents to make the board allow the board to obtain the loan, and at the same time we gave approval for the loan. The results of that were 161 members voted yes, which was 68% of the total ownership. We had to get to 67% of the total ownership.
Wow.
So, well, and that sounds close, but once we hit the 67, we were kind of done, so we could end the process at that point. 5.1%, 13 people voted no, and 2 people abstained. There was also a second amendment on there, and that amendment allowed us to better manage delinquencies and do it more cost effectively. 170 members voted for that. That was 71.1%. 5 people voted no on that and 1 abstained. The board voted on 3/3/26 to memorialize the amendments. That just means that they're now in the Richmond Park documents and they've been incorporated in the document. Following this, we got a commitment letter from Citizens Bank, or First Citizens Bank. High level, it was an $8 million, 15-year HOA loan, as we described before, so it's all based on assessments.
Yeah.
And we're finalizing the bank terms at this point. And Todd's going to talk about what's going to happen over the next couple of months.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on that section? All right, the next one is Greg Mansfield. He's going to give you the treasurer's report. Kevin Mansfield. I'm sitting here thinking about.
Yeah, that guy next to me. The Richmond Park total annual budget for January 1, 25 through December 31st, 25 was $2,817,992. The total amount of the budget spent from January 1, 25 through 12/31/25 was $2,799,297.31. This leaves a total positive variance of $18,694.69. Typically, this positive variance is rolled over into the replacement fund, but we have not done this yet because we are using these funds for repairs to try and get as much done before the busy season begins. So this will be done at a later date. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Based on what Amy just said earlier, we have to do this. It's an IRS regulation. As of 12/31/25, the replacement fund had a balance of $218,631, excuse me. The Richmond Park total annual budget for January 1, 26 through 12/31/26 is $2,861,000. As of 2/28/26, we are approximately 8% over budget for the year. The reason for this overage is, again, because we are trying to get as many repairs done as we can before the busy summer season begins. We also were slightly over budget at this time last year for the same reason. And that's all I have.
Any questions on that? Okay.
The RCBC.
That's the contractor, RC, the contractor, that's his company. Is that what you're asking? What
What do they do?
they're the ones who have been, you want to answer that, Todd?
They're the ones who do a lot of the repair work. They're the main ones, that's why they have their own section. Okay, so I have, over the year, learned a lot of things. Got a lot of questions, a lot of comments. But one of the big things I get is the budget. And everybody wants to talk about the budget, and people on Facebook get on to talk about the budget, and we don't have a breakdown of the budget and this and so forth and so on. I provided you with a breakdown of our budget. Now, this is something I did, and what I've done is I went as far as each category and the percentage it consumes of the budget, and then the 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and your portion of that budget. Now, I have no idea how to tell you anything more information. That's as much information as I think you can get. If you want to drill down any further, you're welcome to, but that basically tells you where your money is spent and how your money is spent.
I always take you to do that, Todd.
Too long. But, you know, I get tired of hearing everybody say, well, what about the budget? What about the budget? The budget's all on the portal, but that right there, if you do not have one of these, raise your hand and we'll get you one.
Is this gonna get posted? Will this get posted to the?
She can put it on there, yeah. But I mean, I know, I'm sorry about the letter size, but I didn't want to make it multiple sheets, so I just crunched it on down. But that tells you the budget, the percentage of the budget, and the breakdown. Now, in our budget last year, or this budget this year, we had a limitation with the bank, and the bank required us to have a floor. And they set that floor at $2,861,000. And we went through a lot of stuff with insurance, and Greg and Kevin helped with that, and they know this all goes down to pretty much the last day of the month. We had a really good reduction in insurance this year. But we wasn't able to pass that on because of the floor. So that's why you got a credit. We kind of did this a little different than you've probably seen, but in order to get you to where you don't pay the same, the rates technically increased, but you got a credit, which all that was sent out to you, and explain that credit. So you basically take that credit, your rates stay the same. They don't change. And we also put more, we put the extra in there. We could have, if we didn't have the floor, we could have went down a little more, is what I'm trying to tell you. But we got the insurance down payment. This is the second year we've done it. The first year we done it, we got enough money. A good example is what we have to finance on the insurance. Last year we paid the year before we paid $29,000 on finance charges. This year we paid $13,000. So that's a reduction in your interest, mainly because we had the money to put it down on. Kind of the goal there is what I've talked to a lot of people. Your goal is to have enough money to pay your insurance the next year. You save for it, you pay it. Kind of like the layaway program used to be at Kmart. You know, that's basically what it is. And we have 100,000 in reserves and 840 is for the loan, and I broke that out mainly because of the bank also. I think last year we got a lot of things accomplished. I sent all of that stuff out. I'm not really going to go over that unless somebody wants to talk about that. I sent all of that information out and told you how the reserve money was spent. I know the reserve fund sounds a little low, and it is, because last year we took the money that we received in the reserve fund and we spent it on things that needed to be done. what we're going to do with the loan. Now we're in the commitment phase. We're in the courting phase. So they've sent us a commitment, and we went back and forth with them on some things, on what we got to do, and some things. That was one of them. That one of the main things I wanted verified was verified yesterday afternoon. So that was good. So that's their commitment to us. Once we sign the loan, then they go through the process, and that's our commitment to them, so to speak. And we're kind of we've got till June the 2nd to sign the paperwork, and we're kind of slow walking it a little bit, mainly because once you sign the paperwork, there's first the insurance broker, or not the insurance broker, but the loan broker. He's got to have his fee that comes out of it. Then we have our closing fees. And that starts money being drawn on it. So we're working off of a 1-year draw period. Has anybody ever built a house or construction money? You go through a draw period. So you draw money. And as you draw that money, then you pay interest on the money that you draw. And that goes for 1 year. And so we're trying to, we're really not able to start anything until September because of the season. So we've got to spend the next few months preparing for what happens in September. So that's why we're kind of slow walking the commitment letter back to them, because once we send the commitment letter, then they go through the process. And once they do that, they actually have a team of people that help us navigate our way through this loan and understand the payment processes and the legal processes and so forth and so on. And this is done through First Citizens. I don't know if any of you bank with First Citizens here locally, but First Citizens, this is actually a division in San Diego that specializes in this type of stuff. So, like I said, I've sent out as much information as I can on things. I hope everybody's getting them. If you're not getting them, I would suggest you look back and see if your email address is correct. Also, the loan, we originally was approved, and they gave us a rate of 6.55, and then that timed out because of the vote process. So then they recommitted, and the recommitment is at 6.25, which is, in that amount of money, it's probably about a $15,000 a month savings. So that's good. And that would be for 10 years. And then it would reset after 10. And if it starts to go down, and the rates go down, they go down enough, then it would be worth going back and refinancing the rates. The loan is refinanceable. So that's about all on that on the loan. Like I said, I went through everything on the repairs. I mean, there's a lot of people say they don't know where the money's being spent, and I keep sending stuff out, so I don't know how better to tell you where the money's being spent.
Todd, can you answer this gentleman's question that he had regarding the how are we going to prevent, when we're doing these repairs, prevent having this same problem that we're involved with a lawsuit now?
Yeah, I'm headed in that direction. Yeah.
While we're on this, when will the work actually begin?
It'll start, mainly, the most of it's going to start in September, because that's the season, because they want us to shut down major work from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then after Labor Day. Let me find my notes here.
Todd,
Yes.
when A and B, by what you're saying, there is an implication that there's a busy season, which implies a lot of rentals. Is there any idea of what percentage of our homes are on rent, some sort of rental program?
You got any idea?
We don't track that in
I
our
don't have no
system
idea.
because we deal with homeowners, so I really don't know.
I mean, if it weren't a significant number, then it wouldn't matter what busy season is.
It is a significant number.
It's a significant number, yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I live here full time, and I can tell you it's a significant number. I don't know what the number is, but I would guess at least 75%. That would just be my guess. Again, don't quote me on that, but I would guess it'd be at least that high.
Would it be out of order for us to raise our hands if our units are on rental program?
Excuse me?
Would it be out of order if
I don't,
we had
yeah, you can take it, yeah. Show of hands, who rents their units?
some sort of rental program?
Who rents their unit in here? There's a good many people. Now, that's another problem we've got is the rental issues. That's going to affect all of these air conditioning units. That's when we start, that's going to be one of the biggest things.
That'll be in the fall, though, right?
Yeah, that'll be in the fall. So I've talked about the commitment letter, I've talked about the loans. Anybody got any questions like that? We'll kind of go through this, break it down a little bit.
Once we start the loan.
You got to tell her who you are.
Okay, hold on one second. We're going to
Oh, yeah.
this microphone thing.
That wasn't okay, once we start the loan,
Kind of means name and you.
Name and unit
I'm
number.
Anthony with you, I've been here for 31 years.
What unit number?
105 here.
Okay. We do that so we can take notes.
No, that's fine. Once this loan starts,
It's coming through the
our
speaker.
fees gonna be going up, our monthly fees going up.
Wow.
Why? Because we're taking a loan out.
Dude, I've got that on this sheet.
Oh,
I spent all this time on this sheet. It's on the sheet.
I apologize. I didn't know that.
It's on the sheet. The loan, the money for the loan has been factored into this year's budget. Yeah.
Sleep, just want to be organized.
So what we're going to do, I'm sorry. So what we're going to do, our next step is, like I said, we get the commitment letter, but our next step is we met this week with construction project managers, and we're going to hire a manager that oversees this construction. And what we're doing is that person are people that are going to help define the scope of work, which is we had the engineer here on Tuesday, and he's going to define the scope of work. Well, the flat roof issues has already been defined. He's going to define the scope of work for the roofing. He's going to define the scope of work for the siding, even down to the painting, what we recommend and what they're going to apply.
Chimneys also?
Chimneys also. All of that's in the scope. Let's see, I got a note here, I believe, on that. The engineer is going to provide the scope of work for the siding, for the chimney repairs, the roofing systems, and for the villas. And then we'll do the painting and anything else that needs to be done. And the reason for that is we do a scope so that they can bid the job properly. Everybody's bidding on the same sheet of music. And then at the end of it, all of this will be documented and handed over to the person who is going to take my place after this is over with, and they'll have all the information. You'll have the product that was used, you'll have the colors that was used, you'll have the manufacturers, you'll have everything that's documented. That's critical, because when you go back 5 years from now, you know where you know what you used.
So who's the general contractor?
Well, we're hiring a project. Well, that's what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
He's gonna be.
No, we're hiring a construction company to come, not a construction company, construction management. It's actually part of Real Manage. They have a division that's construction management. We're in the process of trying to figure all the ins and outs of that. With the flat roofs, there's a good chance the flat roofs, the elevators, and redoing the insulation in these attics, those probably will be separated from that, because we already got John Wiley, who's our engineer. He can help look at that, oversee that, and those two other projects are easier to oversee because they're going to charge you a percentage. We just don't know. There's still a lot to be worked out. we're trying to get this to where here's the vendor, here's the construction manager, and here's the board. And then everybody goes to the construction manager. And then if there's anything that's got to be worked out, then that manager is one person coming to us instead of all of these people. For one, we're just volunteer, and I spend a lot of time doing this stuff, and I want to get to the point to where we hand it off to somebody and they do it, that's their professional job. So, they'll be taking pictures before, they'll be taking pictures after, and they'll be taking pictures as we go through. And they'll be also the ones that set the budget, set the schedules, set the scope, and then they'll help maintain the budget and work with the budget and see if there's anything that we got to do to adjust. And, so we're wanting an umbrella over it. And plus, that helps us on our liability. That kind of, they take on the liability at that point because the liability becomes theirs. And that's something I don't want.
Does that work include replacing the metal roofs on the villas and so forth?
Yeah, I'll get with you.
I say that when those things were put on there, we were members then, and I think those things had a 40-year expectation of some kind on them.
They do.
And I didn't know. And
They should last 40 years and be good. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you this. I've had 4 companies come out here that specialize in this type of work. And every one of them report back to the same thing. It's not the product, it's the installation of the product. First of all, they went straight over old 3-tab asphalt shingles. Now, I don't know, back in 2008, whenever this was done, I don't know what the codes was, so I'm not finger pointing nobody. I'm just telling you that what I've had, and I've had people come in that are roofing specialists. Nowadays, they didn't allow enough for the flashing between the flashing and the siding. It's just, they should have stripped that off and done it right. And what's basically, some of their fasteners are rotten. So, that's kind of the issue we're having with that. Yes, sir.
One that you had mentioned, like you have your 3-legged stool for the projects. What is the responsibility for looking in-depth into the vendor and their stability? The reason I ask that, there have been several cases in other associations where they put a roof on, they would go back 4 or 5 years later to get that vendor to do rework, and the vendor is bankrupt, out of business. Paint, same thing. So where does the investigation into the stability of the vendor and their track record fall? Is that the project manager?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to qualify. You have a qualification to get in there. But now that's actually, that's actually typical in the construction industry. Anybody in the construction industry in here understands what this man just said. That's very typical. You have people that start up and all of a sudden they just go away. What you want to try to do is like in this situation, we're talking about the roof, that's the factory warranty. And the factory warranty is going to be stuck on, did they put it in right? And there'll be all of that. So if you follow the way the product is supposed to be installed, then you get the full warranty. That's what they do. It's kind of like, installing windows or anything. You got to install it by manufacturer spec. So I'm not, these are good shingles. They should last and last and last. It's just that, back in those days, the fastening systems wasn't that great. Now they want you to have a little batten in it so it has this protection. You get a little airflow. When you're stacking a metal shingle on top of an asphalt shingle and laying them there during the summer, it ain't doing nothing but cooking that asphalt shingle, which cooks your ceiling. So, and And then basically it's gonna be that'll be their responsibility. So I don't know if, like I said, we talked about the loan, their projects are broke down. As we go into this and we get more of this organized and straightened out, we'll be sending more information out. The first things that we're gonna do is these flat roofs. We're gonna do all of the flat roofs. We're hoping the contractor can come in and hoping he can come in September. We'll start with this one right over here on Arrowhead on the 3rd floor. That's the worst one. You can go up there and look. There's some serious damage to that. And we're hoping that, in the winter they can do this building, in the fall they can do this building. But there again, there's a lot, as you peel this onion back, there's a lot of stuff underneath there. We don't know what we got yet. We don't know if it's going to be a lot of extra work or a little extra work or, so and then we're going to also do the elevator here, and we're going to do the insulation in these buildings. Y'all probably have heard information about that. Basically what that is we have a lot of raccoons, and we've had raccoons all winter, so we spent about $22,000 about a month ago, I guess, and they came out with lifts and they went around all of these buildings and they put screen hardware cloth. It's real hard, rodent-proof cloth. They went in here and sealed all of that up. Come back last week because there's a couple more issues. They worked on them Thursday, I believe. And then, he said too, if you got any more, just let me know. But what happened was in the fall or last year, Embassy rents these buildings. They have a contract with us. We talked about that last year. Probably middle part of the year, middle part of the summer, they're like, this air conditioning system's not working. So we send somebody up into the attic, and the raccoons has done eat all of the ductwork. All the ductwork's eat up. So, they got them a nice little air conditioned house up there in the summer and a heat in the winter. So it was terrible. I mean, really, it was over 200 pounds of raccoon feces come out of that one section. And we're talking about, there's a firewall. That is a firewall, that concrete, and that is a firewall. We're talking about in that space.
The galvanized steel ductwork?
No, it wasn't galvanized steel. It was more like home ductwork.
Oh.
So we replaced it. Well, we had the people come out. They replaced it with galvanized, insulated, done properly, like commercial should be done. All of the units was bad. They were all pulling high amps. They were 17, 18 years old, except the one we replaced 3 years ago. I believe, is that about right? Yeah. So we had to replace all of that. So we wound up kind of getting a little sidetracked. But when they pulled all the insulation out, they had to go back in and seal all that area up. So I'm hoping, and I haven't heard any more about raccoons, but I'm hoping we've really tamped down the raccoon coming in and out of these buildings. Now, another thing that we're doing, and you've probably seen them on these buildings here, all the gable ends, once we got all of that sealed up, then they noticed over here on some of the gable ends, undoubtedly when they built these buildings, they used what they call a fire rock. And it's basically like sheet rock, but the core of it's a fireproof. It's what you put up for fire. You have a fire rating. Well, they put it up and then they nailed sheetrock on. I mean, they nailed siding on it. Well, the problem is they just nailed it into the rock. They never nailed it into the stud. So in a 10-foot piece, you had like 3 nails holding it, and maybe one's in the stud and the rest of them just loose. So the wall was doing this, and the raccoons got the little thumbs on them, and they then went in and found little spots like this, and they were pulling the siding off and eating their way through it. So now we've had to redo all the ends of these. They've been all the gable ends have been completely redone, stripped down to the stud, put back with proper sheathing, taped up, and new hardy siding on all of these, and that was quite an expense. So we're down to where this building will have that end and that end to do, and hopefully the siding part will be done. So it's a lot. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's kind of overwhelming, really. It's a lot to it. A lot of people just don't understand the little things that go on, and that's the whole need of trying to do what we're doing here. But we're gonna, with these buildings, we're gonna go through and put the siding on and put the roofs on, and we're not gonna replace all the sidings on the lodges, because everything under roof, they don't need it. They're in good shape. If there's bad pieces, we'll replace them, we'll clean them up, and then we'll paint them. But everybody talks about the carpet, and I understand the carpet on the second, third floor is awful. It's terrible. But we can't really do anything to the carpet until we get the whole thing done. And the carpet will be one of the last things that we do. And that's on the lodges. And then our plan is on, when we start, we're going to try to do 2 of the villas at a time. And the first ones we see doing are 7, 8, and 9. That's on the water because they have the most damage. And then we'll do, if we do 2 at a time, we'll probably do 7, 8, and 9, and then we'll do 11. But then we're going to come back to the front and do 1, so everybody can see it. It's more visible when it comes in. So one of the other things that you might have seen out here on the board was the handrails. We've had an incident where there's been a slip and fall, and one of the things that comes up is the handrail systems that we have. Now, the handrail systems we have are fine systems until they're outdated at this point. So when we start changing them out, we don't, as an HOA, technically have to have ADA, but that little handle that you see out there, it comes down, it turns like that, and turns back around, that's ADA. That's, American Disabilities Act. And you have to have, the handles have to be, or the handrails have to be pushed back into the wall so nobody, like a lady, can come by and get her pocketbook strapped and hung in. So those are going to be changed out. They're going to be probably a metal, similar to what we have out here, a metal powder coated. Another thing we want to do, let me ask you, show of hands, how many people think these lodges need to change colors? Change the color of the lodge.
Yes. What was your question again?
How many people think the lodges need to be a different color than brown? So the same thing with the villas, we need to kind of, do the villas. But one of the problems is, and I didn't realize this until this week, and I wish we'd have caught this earlier on, but it takes 75% of the vote to change color. 75% of the people. I mean, we can't get 68 to vote for it, much less 75. I mean, I don't know who wrote these laws, man, but I tell you what, 75%. But it's not 75% on a color, it's 75% on the make a modification. So personally, I've been told by people from the tourist industry and everything, if you want these places, especially these 2 lodges, you want them to start being more attractive to people, you need to change some things. And one of the things is the color. Make it more of a beachy looking, like right now, we're looking like we're in the mountains over here, so.
Maybe we shouldn't change the voting requirement? Maybe we shouldn't call them lodges anymore then.
Well, my point is they need to be, they got to be painted. And do we want to go through that hassle of doing that? We made this board up here and then I realized that wasn't going to work, so.
How much more expense, Todd, is there by changing the color than there is by keeping the color the same?
Well, we don't even know the same color now, it's the faded. You can't figure out really the real color. I mean, truly, I don't have a color code unless somebody's got a color code. I don't have a color code, and.
Aren't all the locks covered with the screen door now?
Huh?
Aren't the locks you see covered with the screen door anyway? The screen door that you go open first, and then you hit the lock. Is that what you're talking about, or what?
How about the paint?
Oh, my goodness.
So anyway, that's something that we're going to address. There's actually a way I think we can do that. If we decide to do that, we'll do it through electronic voting, similar to how we voted the loan. We're also going to look at changing, hopefully if we can, Amy says we can't, but I think we probably come up with a way where we can change the vote on how we do these meetings too. So everybody don't have to mail in their stuff. Hang on. And then, so I mean, I've tried to cover everything. Has anybody got anything you want me to talk about?
Nick Thomas, Arrowhead, 106. Did you say, does 75% of the people have to agree on the color?
Not a color, just a change of color.
I was gonna say, my wife and I don't agree on color.
Yeah, that's 75% to change the color.
That would never get in.
Hang on, I'm trying to get all of these people to say it on the microphone, because anybody when we send it out, they can hear.
So Hank Savoy, 206 Laurel Court. One of the things that kind of rattles around in my head is kind of cost control. As you work through all these things, obviously you're gonna find things that you didn't expect and all that kind of stuff. How are you thinking you're gonna manage your way through that? I know, one day at a time, but you know, you selected $8 million based on a lot of hard work of trying to figure out what needed done, what those things would cost, but as time goes on,
8 million was about to fill out of that. 8 million also was about the cap I felt like we could go after and try to get people to understand. In reality, it should have been about 2 more. You know, just looking at it from a construction standpoint. But I don't know, because I don't know when we start going through and peeling the onion back, I don't know what we're going to get into. I mean, when we pull those roofs off, I don't know what we're going to get into. We might find a lot of damage, and we might find not. I mean, that's the unknown part. You know, you're finding stuff every day that you don't know about. A good example is the gable ends.
right.
Now, there is on the roof, some of the quotes they built in, and the siding, they build in extra sheathing and extra, items like that. So there is an allowance put in there. And
We have knocked out some of the things that were on the original walls.
yeah, last year, we spent, like I said, that's why the reserve funds are not high, because we spent all the money we got in the reserve, we put it in these buildings. And that's why I sent all of that stuff out, so everybody could see where this reserve money went. There's no question about where it went. And, we do a lot of end buildings, and we do a lot of decks. We got, I think 71 steps was done last year. We got 20-something more to go. 20-something decks was done. We've got a bit of stuff on the ends of the villas has gotten replaced, the siding. We've done the pool. We've put a new deck at the pool. We've put new coatings on the pool. We've built a new pump house for the pool. We put lights around the pool that's I don't know, they were there at one time, but I mean, when we opened them up, it was just piles of debris in them. So those lights haven't worked in years. And technically, if you're going to be open, if the pool's open after dark, you really need that deck to be lit up. So, a lot's been done, and we used the money to do it. And what we'll do is another thing too about the loan is they require to have $750,000 liquidity. And that means everything that we have will go in toward that liquidity. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull some of that money out and put it back in reserves just to get us to that liquidity point. So, and then once we do that, then we'll be good.
John, I just want to appreciate all the effort. I got a couple of questions. What was the expense for this bridge and pool?
The bridge, I don't know. The bridge is KPMA.
That's KPMA.
That's all KPMA.
Just curious.
The pool, the expense was, right off the top of my head, about 75.
Just curious. So I got a question. It's kind of glaring. 72% out of budget on this RCBC, on this financial statement so far this year.
Yep.
Through February. Mm-hmm. Right, at 129 grand. Last year, we spent 422,380 all in total with RCBC.
Can you explain that?
Well, I get it, you're front loaded, we'll get it done early.
No.
Okay. We're on track to spend about 3/4 of a mil just at the end of this year. Okay.
So, my sheet,
Yeah,
RCBC only has 75,000 in that budget this year.
I see.
You got 840,000 down here for the loan.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming out of that. It's being funded, but nothing's coming out of it.
I get it.
This is because of the accounting. They will not move some of that stuff from him to here.
Okay.
So the goal here, and this was one of the questions that was just asked yesterday by the bank, the goal here is to have this money, just like we did last year. But it's going to throw his number, it's going to skew his number really bad. It's like 300-something%, you're exactly right. But if you go down to the annual loan, 840, there's nothing being taken out of that. So what's happening is, and I can tell you that in January of this year, we spent 126,000.
I see it.
February, 120. March, 149.
So you're talking about the balance, which is on your sheet, with the contingency of the loan, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a loan. Not yet.
You got the money here, you got the money to pay for it right here, we're getting every year,
I hear you.
every month.
It sounds like a lot, and at 72%, however you allocate it, it needs to be accounted for, and if it's not, then we need to make some line items so everybody can see where it's going, not the fact that it's inflated and shouldn't be there. Just saying, okay? And I think we need to look at, somebody asked something about rentals. The depreciation on these buildings right here, the deterioration, a lot of it is created by the 75% of rentals that, Kevin, you're talking about, right? You've been here the whole time? And we're talking about 75% is rented through the summertime. A lot of depreciation on these buildings, the maintenance work that we have to do is because of the rental. And you need to look at that. That needs to be allocated somehow. There's got to be a subsidy in there for it somewhere, and there's not. And we're all having.
Subsidy for what?
Because the rentals are creating a lot.
The renter, I'm gonna be honest with you, buddy, the renter don't have anything to do with this side wall right here that's rotten. And these ends is what, he don't.
Walk around and look at it.
Huh?
The maintenance of these buildings
Are bad.
has a lot to do with what is created by rental abuse.
I totally disagree with that.
Well, I don't disagree, but I sit right here, my unit is on top of that pool, and I watch those people. Okay, I've watched them for 4 years. All right, and it's abuse, read the feed, it's all in the feedback, all the abuse, all the stuff from Black Drum, all the people that walk through here.
How are they creating rot on these buildings? How are they creating rot on these decks? It's the rental people may be doing damage on the inside of the units, but we are not responsible for that. That's the homeowner's responsibility.
If these units are, if these AC units are running 24/7 at 75% rental ratio, there's deterioration, there's water, there's condensation, it's common sense. Those are flat roofs. I didn't wake up yesterday, I don't think these folks did either, but I think we have to take that into account somewhere. It's not big account.
I don't know how, what you talking about taking into account? What do you mean? I don't know.
Rentals, depreciation,
I get that, but how are you gonna take it into account?
the deterioration of the.
I get all that, but how are you gonna take it into account? What are you trying to say? You trying to say we're supposed to set the rentals over here and this guy over here? I don't know.
You're the president, I mean, let's talk about assessments. Those that don't rent versus those that do rent. And I think you gotta look at that. I get it.
Yeah, you can't.
Amy, you know more about bylaws and stuff like that, so.
Look, I get it. But I think everybody has to look at that. We're all talking about assessments and money being spent. That's what this is about. Fair question. And we're talking about this lawsuit. Let's talk about that for a second. You're not gonna see anything. That guy's, all he's gotta do is go bankrupt. I'm assuming these attorneys are paid on a contingency basis, right?
Right, but we're suing the management company.
I get it.
They're liable.
I get it. And all they have to do is go bankrupt and pay the line.
They won't go bankrupt.
There's no guarantee. Just saying, we need a line item to explain to us what's going where. you're talking about it's lumped up, I think it's fair for everyone here to be able to at least visualize where it is going.
It will be broken out once you go below.
Yeah, it'll be broken out when you get to loan.
Okay.
I mean, but I can tell you this, in January, let's see, we did building 8, we did a wall right. Building 8, we did a wall left. We did 2 corrals. We replaced access doors on these flat roofs, and the reason we did that was because that was another way a raccoon could get in. We went in and we put a spring-loaded hinge with a latch on it, and they latched it on the back. In the past, they didn't. I think it was just like a piece of plywood. Let's see, we've done 2 more corrals on 9, and we've done a portion of the wall on 9, and we did decks on 8, unit A and B, and building 9A, we did 1 bedroom. That was we did an end wall there. February, we did, we cleaned gutters. I can't read what that says. We did steps, 4 set of steps on 9. 8, same way. Building 11, we got the wall on the bedroom. We did corrals. We built decks on unit 3, C and D. That might be wrong because I think that's 8, sorry. And we did the building 16, we did the right wall, the end wall again. And then.
So can we see this somewhere? Is this broken down, or can we get that done for us too, to put it on the website?
Be happy to. I ain't got nothing to hide, man. I'll provide you any information you want. I got it all broke down.
Just like to know where it's going.
Because what we do is we have a spreadsheet, and we do a RFP on that spreadsheet. So that tells me it's got a work order description, it's got the RFP, and what I do if it comes in March, it starts with MAR, and they start with like 301. Since it's the 3rd month, first work order. And we go through and we get a price on it first, and then we do a status, so when we know where it's at, and then we do what month it was, and then it comes up as paid.
Under the circumstances, just based on the fact that we got a lawsuit now, with undiscretionary funds being spent of our money, we need to be able to see where it's going.
I'll provide you that, man. I'm an owner too. I mean, that's exactly why I broke that down for you. I don't know how much better it can get. If you can do any better, please do it and send it to me.
We'll see the rest of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Deborah Helton, A212.
Please use the microphone and hold it up
Yeah.
where everybody can hear you.
Yeah, these people, what's happening is if you're not able to attend, these people are listening to
Yeah, they're
this.
trying to record it.
Not up there.
And put it close to your mouth.
Okay. Deborah Helton, A212. Just in response to what was just said,
You still can't hear
Hold on.
that's where I'm talking. Can
Let's
you
try
hear?
this one. Let's,
That one.
this one's working. Let's pass this one around.
Okay. Deborah Helton.
There you go.
Yeah. A212. In response to what was just said, I know some regimes in areas, some homeowner association, they do charge more in HOA fees for people that rent. However, our regime is governed by our master deed, and the master deed points out that such percentage for a 3-bedroom, such a percentage for 2-bedroom. So it doesn't allow for that. And I do think, and I could be wrong, I know it's at least 75, but I think if you change the master deed, it's almost 100%.
It's 100.
I think it's 100% to approve. So with 75% renting, you're not going to get 100% of people to vote to charge people who rent their unit more than those that do not rent their unit. So I just wanted to point that out. And the pool, I know we spent some money around the pool. However, that pool, the wood and everything had not been updated since it was built like in 1986. And we had to come up to code because we could have been sued, which puts us even more liable. The fence needed to be larger. It needed to open, the gate has to open out now according to code, because if it opens in, a little kid can walk up, and if it's not locked, push and get in. So we did that to protect ourselves, and I appreciate it, Todd. Thank you.
Is there, she has a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Deborah
I saw her
Picarillo.
hand behind you raising. I'm sorry.
Deborah Picarillo, 111 Arrowhead. I just had a question about, you said sending it out. Do you send it directly to emails or do you send it to the website?
I send it.
Because I haven't gotten the emails.
What I request is what I won't send out. I request Real Manage to send that out to the owners.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's on the website.
well, it comes to you in an email if you're registered on the portal.
Yeah, I am.
I'm registered on the portal for the community notifications,
Okay.
and if not, you may not get it, but it's always on your portal also. You
Okay.
get an email out there.
So maybe I just need to check and make sure I'm community communications.
I will make sure you're.
Okay, thank you.
Just, I'll give you my card and I'll help you look.
Oh, that's fine.
Make sure you got what you need.
I just didn't see you. She was raising her hand, so I was overlooking you. I apologize.
Okay, Pat Bramlett, 21A and B, Richmond Park. This is a minor question compared to all this other stuff you're talking about, but we've been told by the rental office that our unit is dated, so we're in the process of trying to take care of that. And one of our questions is they're wanting to get away from any TVs on a TV stand and have everything wall mounted. And we're just curious for any others who have changed them and had wall mounted units, TVs, in all your bedrooms and in the living room, how that has worked out. If anybody here has done that.
Well, the ones I've had mounted on the wall, there's an excellent company, I don't have their name right now, but they've come out and done it, and you cover the wires, and cable going down. It's very professional done. I have to come up with the name. And this please,
We have 3 TVs and it was all done by Best Buy. They did a good job.
Okay, all right, well, that's what I wanted to know.
Does that help you?
Thank you. Yes.
Hey, Blake Edwards, 15 Laurel Court. Here's a quick question for with the app. How often or how quickly can you actually get the insurance renewals posted out to the app? I see the latest is 2023, and every year I have a little bit of an issue getting those insurance certificates to send back to the mortgagee back home to have proof of insurance every year.
So the insurance renewals are not posted on the portal anymore. If you'll shoot me an email, your agent takes care of that. They just send all that. The banks and your mortgage companies want to have your information on the policies. We used to just have the COIs that was a blanket for everybody, but now they don't do it that way. So if you'll shoot me an email, you need that, we'll send that to your insurance agent and they'll send the information with your unit, your name, your bank. There's all this personal information they need on the COI.
But yeah, so just no longer put the certificate out there.
We don't get that anymore. We have a certain email that we have to email your insurance agent for them to do that for you. And normally homeowners just email me and I'll copy them on the email and we'll send it back to you.
We'll get you one. She's bringing them around.
TC Pete Smith, 8F Richmond Park again. I've personally had some work done by RCBC. This did not have anything to do with the association, but I've been very pleased with the work they've done. They've done it very professionally. It was reasonable. And I think that they're on track to do a good job for us. The other thing I'd like to say is that these board members sitting up here, this is a thankless job.
Amen.
And they've done an outstanding job, and I don't know of anybody that would have spent the time that Todd has spent running down all of these projects, getting people to do the work. And I want to thank you all personally for doing that for us.
I will say it's a lot of work. If you do it right, it's a lot of work. And I mean, I'm trying to get it to the point to where we're passing it off now to managers who can manage it and get it done. Because I just, you know, that's we're wanting it done right. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hi, Todd. Thank you for all your work. You may have answered this question. This is Steve Piccirillo from A111. You said the work is going to start around September. How long is the project? What's the duration of the project?
I'm hoping it's, I'm really scared to say. Because I don't know what the onion's going to be when you start peeling it, but I'm going to say probably 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2.5. And it all depends on weather, and it all depends on timing. And, you know, I mean, if we didn't, I mean, we can't work, we got certain days we can work in here, we can't work on the weekends in here. You know, you're limited to time schedules, so that's going to, you know, break it up. The goal is, though, is to have a company do these two buildings, and they do the flat roofs, and, you know, one company kind of comes in and oversees that, and then start on the villas and have, like I said, 2 at a time done and go through them. That's the goal. Whether or not that's achievable or not, I don't know. I've got people in here now that say they can do it, but we're going to write up the scope of work, and we're going to get quotes. I've gotten actually siding quotes. I've got 4 siding quotes. I've got 4 roofing quotes. There's a lot of quotes. I've gotten about, I'd say, I don't know, 20-something quotes all total. And we got them from, we went out and got them from contractors, licensed contractors. This wasn't pulled out of thin air. And we kind of did this backwards, and the attorney, we've had this conversation with him because we had to go through and explain to you what was wrong and what needed to be fixed. And you had to understand that. And it goes, if somebody just pops up and says, we need to borrow this much money, and you don't have no explanation of why or what we're going to do with it. So we kind of backdoored it. We went in the back door and, you know, this is what we're going to do. You know, our attorney, he thinks we're going to have one contractor, but we can't do that. So that's why we're hiring a management to manage the construction aspect of it. And, you know, I want it done. I don't think anybody else on this board wants to be that responsible for that. That's not good. So
I have a quick comment I want to make before I forget to make it, because I'm getting old. I've had a couple of owners from the villas ask me about coordinating window replacement and this siding work that's going to be done. And so we're going to do our very best to stay in contact with homeowners as we begin to approach each villa, each building, so that if you do need to have window replacement done and you want to coordinate it during that time, then hopefully we can schedule it with your window replacement company. I believe Todd has also reached out to at least one window company in regards to if we get enough people who want to do this, we may be able to coordinate a discount. So that's all speculation right now, but I just want to cover that in.
yeah, we've got a couple people we're looking at doing that with, just to see, because the problem is these windows, a lot of them, they have tabs on them. In other words, you have an opening, you put a tab up there, and you put your window in. Well, to get a window out, you got to tear everything apart and get it out. So why do we want to put new siding on, and then a year later somebody tear it out? Because at that point, you just damaged what was just done, and you're never going to get that back just exactly right. And, you know, the problem is they go out and hire window people, and, well, no, they come in and they get $50 a window, or I'm just using that as a number, and they don't care if the opening's right. They don't care. They just keep on traveling, you know. And so you got to find, you know, if you can do it at the time, then they can put the contractor and go ahead and put the window in, tape it, and do what it's got to be done. That's another thing I'm getting from the engineers, you know, showing that. And then you're off and running. So, and also another thing too is anybody in here that's in the lodges, when we do the flat roofs, it's a good opportunity then to change your unit out. because your AC unit, your heating and air unit, it's a good idea. It's a good opportunity to change it. And the reason being is because when he gives us a price, he's giving us a price to take all of these down and put all of them back up. And what that means, not only is moving the unit, that means extracting the gas out of it. And then he's got to put it back up and he's got to recharge them and get them right. So in that situation, all you're really paying for is the unit. He takes care of all that because that's all that's built in. Now, we did that last time. We've done one with 3 air conditioners, and I think one person did it. So that's another thing, that's a good to do is that. And also, too, that when all of this is said and done, and this will be something else the company, the management company, the construction people do, we'll create a preventive maintenance program after this. And with that maintenance program, it basically covers, you do schedule roof checks, you do schedule siding checks. So, basically you would take, this building would get roof checks and siding checks this year, and that next year would get that one. And then the villas, it would kind of be the same thing. And all of that's got to be put into the budget so that it can be managed and kept up with. And then you don't have the problems we got now. You do your maintenance before it gets too bad. You seal them, your joints, your crackings and all of that, because they'll have to be and we'll get another reserve study too, and that'll all kind of start the thing over. So it's a lot to it, I'll say that. I mean, and I know it's a daunting thing to people to look at and say that's a lot of money, and I agree with you, but if you go back and look at all the reserves that they call for and what we haven't done that they call for, you're spending the money more than that.
Has code changed on the window code? Does it have to be hurricane windows now?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to get a permit, so they can ensure that you're using the proper glass.
That's another thing, when we get these people in place, that's something I'll get them to look at and make sure that, whatever we come up with, if we are able to come up with anything that it meets the code. We're going to do everything on this. There's a lot of work to get it to this point, but at this point, we need to transfer it over to somebody else who's more qualified than any of us are to do that and to manage it. And that way it's done correctly. That makes sense? Anybody else got any questions, comments, suggestions? John, if you'll give me your email, I will send you every spreadsheet I got on this stuff. I kind of broke it down. I kind of went along as we kind of got to an item and
This is Will Crowder, Laurel Court 212, kind of for Amy as well. I've been on HOA board again. Thank you guys very much for what you do. I know how selfless it is. I'm not sure how the rules work here, the laws in South Carolina, but some of the HOA boards in North Carolina were going to change their bylaw to a 60% of those 67% of the people that show up, I'm not sure if those are the numbers that are correct, to vote, can help the board pass things along faster but you have to change the bylaws for that. Is that something that y'all have talked about to make it easier for the board to have things done?
So the bylaws, that's more of your meetings, your documents, what your master deed speaks to. What Todd's referencing, the 75%, that's in your documents from the developer. It says basically anything the developer and the common elements, 75% of them should pass the vote. That number's so high because you all own, you have a portion of ownership. You don't necessarily want that number to be 5 board members or 20%. Everybody should partake in that. Now, I just did the document change for some things that were 68%, and then your quorum is more than 50%. You also have to keep in mind our percentage base is not like 1 vote per unit, because you got or 1 vote or 2 vote or 3, and you have a percentage of membership or ownership in the common elements. So is it doable? Yes. Is it something y'all can change the documents with your attorney? Yes, I don't.
Just things that maybe make it easier for the board to get things done faster.
Right. And I think you guys do really well, Todd, you might agree or disagree. I think
What's that?
people, they participate. I don't think the loan was hard to obtain based on other communities we dealt with. It just takes a little bit of work to get people.
It takes the work, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you
is a much easier solution moving forward. It's more, after having our fingertips, you get email, you can say, and it's done. Because that is a lot of newer technology to deal with and having to mail it out, you mail it back, things like that. So I think that'll be helpful in that aspect.
Saves money on mailing too.
Yes, for sure. But yes, to your question, yes, it can be done.
Anybody else got anything? All right, we're about to done.
I've got a couple of questions.
Deborah Dalton, 8 through 12. Who's our KPMA representative?
You mean as far as at the meetings?
Yeah, who's our representative?
Me or
Okay, well,
Mark or Kevin's been? That's kind of a question.
Whoever's coordinating. I just want to make a comment. They got 2 swans last year. One died. We've got one out there by themselves. He needs a mate. That's the reason we have all these Canadian geese here. And I know that is KPMA. They really need to see about getting a mate for this other swan and get these Canadian geese out of here. They're unsanitary and unhealthy. And one other comment, I'm commenting for another homeowner that could not be here. They're just requesting that owners that have golf carts be considerate of where they park. When they're here is one thing, but when they're not here, even if the place over there where it's designated is full, they're requesting that I made a comment that would they please park at their building. And we have people who park the cars at different buildings. And the person that asked me to say this is the villa that they own in doesn't have any handicapped spaces, and they had a stroke in January. So it makes it really difficult when people from other buildings are parking in front of their villa and leaving their golf carts there when they're not here. The golf cart's not an issue when they're here. But I was asked to just point that out and as a courtesy to think about that.
Yeah, we don't really have handicapped parking around here.
Yeah.
That provision that I'm talking about is is that right? 8.2, maintenance and alterations. So if you want to go to that provision in your bylaws and look it up, that's fine. Is that in the bylaws?
No,
Master deed, sorry. We, trying to have a good relationship with KPMA. I feel like I've got a good relationship with Doug. We kind of sat down and had a long conversation when this started out, and he's been down in here trying to help with trees and stuff and brought trees in here and cleaned it up. Had another conversation with him this week about leaves. It just drives me absolutely crazy to watch somebody take leaves and blow them back into darn mulch bed. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you got a vacuum, you suck them up and get them out of here, and that's one of the things that, we talked about the other day, and I just don't get it. It's over my head. Normally when you clean at home, I clean the beds out and then I cut the leaves up or get rid of them, but they just don't, they do the exact opposite. So, we're constantly trying to work on things and try to do that, but, it's a struggle on some of this.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
There you go.
I want to say one thing, only after the adjourn. Since you guys have done such a great job, I think we ought to do your building first.
Yeah, there you go. There's 3 of us who would like it.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment.
Thank you, Greg.